Supreme Darkness is the very first Yu-Gi-Oh set to come out in 2024, and while it boasts cards for competitive players as well as something for the casuals, it's missing a lot and isn't worth buying. In today's video, we are going to break down everything you need to know about Supreme Darkness and if it's worth buying depending on what type of player you are. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. So Supreme Darkness as a Yu-Gi-Oh set is just around the corner. OTS stores will start off with their premiere events on this upcoming weekend, and since it's tradition, your shop will probably be flooded with Yu-Gi-Oh players looking to pick up this set. A lot of times we as people make uninformed decisions and will purchase something and wind up regretting it later. And if you're a certain type of Yu-Gi-Oh player, Supreme Darkness just may be one of those pitfalls that you may fall into. But first, before we jump into anything, let's talk about the set itself. Supreme Darkness official release will be January 2024 for America and the day before for other TCG countries. This set, like the other 100 card sets, bolsters tons of support. Decks like Arcana Force, Mermail Atlantean, Azamina, Clearwing, Crystron, Evil Hero, Fiendsmith, Gladiator Beast, Goblin, High Speed Roid, Metalmorph, Primite, Sharks, Snake Eyes, and a ton of other strategies will be getting support. It also introduces the new Argo Stars archetype into the TCG, as well as gives us a TCG exclusive archetype in Mitsurugi. We'll talk about those a little bit later. It's your standard 100 card Yu-Gi-Oh set where there are 10 secret rares, 14 ultra rares, 26 super rares, and while you're not guaranteed to get 2 secret rares and 4 ultra rares per box, that's roughly what everyone will be getting. It's also to note that it has been announced that Supreme Darkness will be the very last Yu-Gi-Oh set to have quarter-century secret rares. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen in the future sets, but this will be the very last time alongside of quarter-century Stampede that we will get the opportunity to get quarter-centuries. It also means that Konami's philosophy can very much change when it comes to booster boxes, but that's actually one of my problems. In this particular video, I'm going to be breaking down Supreme Darkness in 4 different sections. One is going to be for the competitive players and how viable this set is competitively. Next is for casual play and functionality of these Yu-Gi-Oh cards. A lot of times we get cards that aren't competitive but are really fun to play. Third is for the investors. Will these cards have some hidden gems that will be incredibly important down the line? And lastly is for collectors. Starting off on the competitive side, I have to say Supreme Darkness is relatively underwhelming. Typically, when you get a booster set, it bolsters some of the powerful strategies that are out, but also introduces new Yu-Gi-Oh strategies, with at least one of them being competitive. Competitively, right now, the best support in this strategy is going to be for Mermail and White Forest. Players think that LZ Azamina of White Forest is going to be the card to make White Forest a very viable deck. And Mermail has already been decently competitive through last format, and it's getting some really powerful cards. It's getting Poseidra the Rumble Atlantean and Abyssrite the Atlantean Spirit. These 2 cards are going to make the deck a lot stronger. There's a little bit of Ryziel, Fiendsmith, and Malice support strategies that I've talked about in my top 5 meta decks post Supreme Darkness. Eclipse Twins and Template Skipper isn't direct support, but it's going to make these strategies a lot more explosive. The problem here for competitive players is that if you're not interested in any of those strategies, there's not really much for you. Abayo the Lightless Shadow and Mole Chummy Meows are powerful generic cards, but they won't have nowhere near the same impact as some of the cards that we've received in past Yu-Gi-Oh sets. There are also quite a few strategies on the outside looking in, but it's a coin flip. Mitsurugi shows tons of promise and is probably the best TCG exclusive strategy we've had in quite some time. The Primite monsters just got a secret boost. Primite Another Barrel had a text change that allows you to get it to your hand during either player's turn as opposed to the OCG. Goblin Biker does get another wave of support, and it is a critical time for the strategy. With Eclipse the Twin Shadow taking off and Exceeds making a huge boom, this is the boom or bust time for this strategy. I would say that Supreme Darkness does do a good job at bringing in the anticipation, the excitement. But the problem with that when it comes into the competitive scene, you want things that are proven winners. You don't want to waste your time on something that won't be good. I would have to say that if you are strictly a competitive player, this is not a set worth buying. I would say from a competitive perspective, this is a set that has a bigger risk than some of the other sets that we've received in the past. You can be rewarded for it greatly, but oftentimes you don't have to take those risks if you just go buy singles. Now, for a casual player's perspective, this is a little bit more permissible. Evo Hero cards are getting another wave inside of this set. Evo Hero Neos Lord, alongside of the other powerful cards that are coming out for Heroes, is definitely going to bring up that nostalgia. There's also support for strategies like Gladiator Beast for Edison players, and then as you dive a little bit deeper, there's some really fun high-speed Roy support. A once competitive and powerful deck, Tingy Sword Soul, also gets support inside of this set. This is a set that is way more palatable to the casual audience, and if you ask me, that's probably a good thing. Competitive players are notorious for not buying Yu-Gi-Oh product, but if you cater a Yu-Gi-Oh product to the competitive player base, you're buying into power creep. Allow me to explain. Just earlier, I said that this is a 50-50 toss for competitive Yu-Gi-Oh players, because we don't know exactly how some of these cards will pan out. If we go back to Rage of the Abyss, we knew exactly how certain cards would pan out. Cards like Molchumi Flowerless were almost a no-brainer must-get card alongside of Dominus Impulse. And the problem with this is that this is clear evidence of power creep. You get too many of those sets, Yu-Gi-Oh gets worse and worse as time goes on. From a casual perspective, there is a ton of goodies here, and the competitive cards don't overlap too much. And while I wouldn't consider Speedroid or Arcana Force at the top of someone's list when it comes to casual archetypes that need support, they are definitely some underserved strategies that you can have fun with as we prepare for the next set. This one is an okay buy for the casuals. Now, from an investment perspective, this set is really wonky. There are 10 secret rares inside of this set, and most of them are completely underwhelming. I talked about how Konami should make a change for Yu-Gi-Oh sets in 2025 in last week's video, and that will explain the disappointment that I have for Yu-Gi-Oh box sets, but how things can get better. As you already know, every single one of these secret rares can be a QCR quarter century secret rare. This drives down the price on these particular secret rares. This is a good thing if the secret rares are still sought after. Abayo the Lightless Chattel, Molchumi Meows, and LZ Azamina of the White Forest are the only cards worth merit as secret rares inside of this set. This gives you a 3 in 10 opportunity to actually get a card that's worth it. And right now on pre-order, these cards are only $45. In order to pay for your box set sneak peek, you're going to need to pull not only 2 out of these 3, you're probably going to need to be able to pull some important ultra rares or pull a QCR that people are looking for, which again, you don't have a huge chance. It's a 3 in 24 chance of getting something that good. I probably should say 4 in 24 chance because Primite Dragon Ether Burl is a card that players are looking after, and it is the next most expensive card at about $30. Seeing that all of these are pre-release prices, and pre-release prices go down, not up. As well as there being no high demand super rare worth over $2. Eclipse Twin does come as super rare, but it's only for about 1 or 2 decks. From an investment perspective, it is pretty clear cut that you should stay as far away from this set as possible. Buying singles should be your mode of getting any of these cards, and seeing that these prices will drop when the premiere comes out and then drop again on Saturday of the set's release, there's no genuine panic to get these cards. Molchumi Meows is the new installment to the Molchumi line, with Perilia allowing you to draw every time your opponent special summons from the hand, and Flowerless allowing you to draw anytime your opponent summons from the deck or extra deck. Meows allows you to be able to draw anytime a monster is special summoned from the graveyard or banished. This card on paper is incredibly good against decks that summon a lot from banishment or graveyard. Currently, the top contender in Malice summons a lot from banish, and the Fiendsmith cards can periodically summon monsters that are from the graveyard. The problem with Molchumi Meows is that Flowerless does Meow's job better against those particular strategies. And while you can use Molchumi Meows alongside of Flowerless to be able to double your chances and get even more powerful cards, as you should already know, the Molchumi cards have a limit, and more importantly, your main deck and your side deck has its limits. It's not really a necessary Molchumi card, and to be honest, if this card didn't have Molchumi in its name, I would raise to think that maybe players wouldn't even think of it as much. Lastly would be the collector's perspective on this Yu-Gi-Oh set. I want to reiterate again, this will be the last time we get quarter century secret rares until we get quarter century Stampede, or at least that's what they announced. With that being said, Paladins of Bonds in Unity is going to be exclusive to this Yu-Gi-Oh set, and you'll never be able to have an opportunity to get it as quarter century rare again. There's also iconic cards like Evil Hero Neoslord that'll have a bit of the nostalgia to it because it's tied to the hero line, and potentially some other cards like Evil Hero Toxic, as well as Dead in Prison, and the Mermail cards with Poseidra Stormy Atlantean, as well as the access code talker monster Abeo Lightless Shadow. If I'm going to keep it a bean for you guys, one thing that I will tell you about collecting is that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players will goon for a waifu card. While the waifus are far and few between in this set, Abeoku the Lightless Shadow is not only a competitive card, it is also a waifu. It pretty much makes this, alongside of Bonds in Unity, the must-have cards as well as the heroes. But it also means that inside of this set, those are some of the only cards that are worth getting from a collector's perspective. I know earlier I said there's a 4 in 24 chance that you'll be able to get the quarter century that you need. For collectors, it's roughly a 9 in 25 chance, because even if you don't pull the quarter century rare that you exactly need, a lot of times pulling a card like Primite Another Burrow or Molchummy Meows can net you the cards that you may be closer towards for your collection. Regardless though, I still would say it is a no-go for collectors, because the only thing that's genuinely worth getting for this set is the quarter century secret rares. And even a 9 out of 25 is a failing grade on any test you'll take. It would be 100% way more advantageous to just buy the singles, especially if you're KCR hunting. And that's all of the information that I have about Supreme Darkness. Unfortunately, as a content creator, I got conned into buying a case of this set. Pretty much I have to buy a case of every main set to give you guys content. But if you fit the categories of those players that I just mentioned, there's my advice that I would have for you about Supreme Darkness. Let me know down below in the comment section if there's some other additional thoughts that you may have, and some other type of videos that I should do, because I really do enjoy talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. Until then, big dog, I can't wait to see you on the next video. Actually, you're just going to click on one of these so I can catch you on the next one.